Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week we're going to start and make a car. See you in a minute. Now this won't be the first car I've built. There's a kit car in the garage, trike, that needs some work doing on it, and that will probably come up in the future. And there's a Ferrari replica sitting on the drive that similarly needs some work doing on it. But in this instance, the car I want to make is one for the first school that I visited and did the benches for about 6 months ago. Now, in addition to dragging me in to do welly stands for them as well as the bench build, they mentioned at the time that they wanted a pallet wood car for the playground for the kids to play on. These are children of about 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, that sort of range. And they said, would I build them one? And I said, well, let me have a picture of what you want and we'll have a think about it and see what we can do. What they came up with essentially was a picture of a pallet with 4 chairs screwed to it and a steering wheel, which I didn't think was quite good enough really. Then I had a look on the internet to see what I could find, and the best I could come up with is a sort of a vintage car that somebody had made. And then decided that a Land Rover would be ideal because it's square, boxy, there's not a great deal of finesse in them, and it would do something that I could do for them in mixture of at the here and at the shed, many sheds. So let's have a look at the build. It's going to split up into 2 or 3 places, I think. It's going to take several weeks to do it. It's spread out over quite a long time because I'm only spending probably half a day a week on it. But we'll have a look at the first part. This is taking it from design through to having the front part of the body tub pretty much there. I started looking at Land Rover plans, which I downloaded from the internet, got a rough idea of size, and then from that worked out what size I would need to make the finished article. Given that the children concerned are about 2/3 the size of a normal grown-up human being, I worked on 2/3 the size for the car itself and then went off searching for pallets. I picked up a load of pallets and some very nice 3/4 ply which I found round the back of one of the factories on an industrial estate. Went and had a word with the guy in charge and he said yeah, take them away, they were scrap. So I'm going to use the 3/4 ply as the basic shell on which to fix pallets, strips of pallet wood anyway, once I'd got the shape formed. And I'd got 4 of these pieces of wood, and I think I can get away with using 2 for the front wings effectively, and the other 2 will be used in the back to form the rear wheel arch and tub and the seating area. The biggest difficulty I had was taking the pallets apart. They're quite awkward things to break up without having a decent pallet wood breaker effectively that will prise all the timbers off, because the timber itself tends to splinter rather than come apart. But I've sawn some of the main cross members out of the first piece, and that's formed effectively what will be the bulkhead at the back of the bonnet. I'm going to make it in 2 halves on pallets that come out at about 2.4 metres long overall. The front half will have the bonnet and wings, and the rear half will have the seats and the rear seats. Reason for that is firstly that it'll be easier to transport, and secondly it'll sort of hold together better if each half has got its own pallet. I'm not putting any doors on it because they're likely to be a problem for children to trap the fingers in, so I'm keeping it fairly simple. I cut up the 3/4 ply slightly off centre from the panels so that the wing itself on the outside edge was the right height. The inner edge doesn't matter, I only need it to get the top so that I can nail pallet wood along the top edge. So they were then screwed to some 3x2s. There is a hole there which is roughly where the wheel arch will go, but that will be decided when I get the proper size and the template made for it. At the moment it's just convenient that the hole in the wood is where the wheel arch will be. So then I took the timber outside, fixed it all together and started to clad the wings with pallet wood. It was surprising how difficult it was to get a nail through some of it. It's very hard. It's a mixed batch that I'd got. Some of it was really hard and I've had to drill it to get the hole through for the nails to go through into the plywood. But effectively, when it's got a cladding on the outside over the wheel arches, on the inside face under the bonnet and to the side of the either side of the recess in the front, it'll be completely clad in pallet wood, so hopefully the plywood won't be exposed to the weather at all. I'm gluing it all together with a glue that's the Gorilla polyurethane glue, which foams up and seals the joints quite well as well. So I'm hoping with once it's tidied up, I'll be able to just put some oil or something on it as a finish, and it will stand a winter or two anyway. Keep them going for a bit. Once I've got the main shape for the wings and bonnet, I ran round it with a little Katsu router with a round over bit. Again, nothing too sophisticated. It was just again to take the rough edges off it so that ultimately they don't end up getting splinters when they're climbing all over it. Gave it a light sand with a sander just to see how it would come up. It'll have a decent sand down just before I put any finish on it, but until I get the sides on the wings there's not really a lot of point at the moment, because the sides of the wings will need rounding over as well. Made a front panel up then just to fill in the gap under the bonnet. I've got to find something that will look like headlights, and I'm just thinking about using CDs at the moment for that, and some mesh just for a grill. I've got some lids which I think will do for the indicators and side lights. Again, nothing too sophisticated, but it's got to stand a bit of weather. At the moment it's reasonably heavy now, but not too heavy that I can't move it around. And now all it needs to complete the front is the cladding on the sides and a bulkhead, which I've just started to make up with a windscreen on it. Well, I'm leaving it there for now. I've run out of pallets, so I need to go around and scrounge some more wood. I've got to try and source some wheels as well that are of a suitable size. They're only dummies, but it wants something that looks reasonably realistic. So hopefully I'll be back on this in a week or two's time when I've got some more materials together. In the meantime, we'll be building something else next week, and I'll look forward to seeing you then. Bye!